Hey everyone, welcome to today's 10K in 30-day live weekly webinar. I'm your host, Vanessa Simpkins from TakeYourPowerBackNow.com. And today we have a special guest, Miss Cherilyn, who's going to talk to us all about how to break up with sugar, why it's the bad boyfriend you need to kick to the curb if you're looking to get fit and toned, feeling fit, fabulous, and sexy in your body for summer, because you know it's right around the corner. You're going to love today's training. And if you're new to this weekly webinar series, we talk about money, mindset, manifesting, marketing, and today health, right? Because health is such a big part of how you feel, how you show up to life, how you show up to your business. We talk about how to generate sales. We talk about how you can take your hobby kind of business into a real sustainable cash flow for you. And if you're a coach, consultant, entrepreneur, business owner, if you're a rock star, one entrepreneur, you're going to love today's training. And I can't wait to introduce to you our amazing guest today. So welcome, Cherilyn.
Hey, Vanessa. Thanks for having me today. I'm really excited to share with everybody.
Yeah, I'm excited. I want to introduce you. I'm also going to do a quick little check here with everyone. Great to have you join us. If you don't know Cherilyn yet, let me introduce you to her. She is a rock star. She's a certified integrative nutrition health coach. She's passionate, but she's really effective about inspiring women and families to make small, simple lifestyle changes that create huge ripple effects in their, really by, to live healthier, happier lives. So super, super excited to have you. Her website's called mywarriorlife.com. And she's got some phenomenal, juicy goodies to share with all of you here today. But before we jump in, I just want to make sure you can all hear us. So let me do a quick little tech check. If you can hear us, would you go ahead, please go into the chat room and let us know your name and where you're calling in from, or where you're living. And just let us know that you can all hear us. Jerry says, I'm working and not sure how long I can stay. Is it recorded by any chance? I think we're going to have a recording. Jerry says, yes, I can hear you. Tammy Lee, welcome, welcome. So awesome you guys can hear us. I'm going to also invite you to show up today and participate and ask questions, right? You're here, you made it here. So use the time, use us. Ask us questions, any questions. We love questions. Welcome, Christine, Sabrina, Jerry, awesome, Janet, woohoo! Janet from Montreal. I used to go to school with a Janet. I think she lives in California now. Okay, so we're gonna jump right on in. Cherilyn, the floor is yours. Welcome. I will pass this off to you.
Excellent. Yay. So thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I'm just really, really happy today to be here with you guys. And health is a big passion of mine. And it affects everything in your life. Not just a little bit here and a little bit there, but everything. So let's just get started with the slides, get on with the presentation so that you guys have some time to ask questions as well. So let me just get this screen going here, and all right. Now, can you guys see that first slide there? Why you need to break up with sugar today?
Yeah, we can. I don't know if you can make it bigger, like if you can make it expand the screen. Because we see, oh yeah, there you go. Try that.
Is that a little better? Oh,
that's much better. Go back to that bigger button. Yeah.
There.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, we still good?
Yeah, you see that button? This is really interesting here. You see the button that's yeah, that one. There you go.
Yeah. That's what I was looking for. Awesome. Okay. So anyway, why do you need to break up with sugar today? Well, for a lot of reasons, and we'll run through a little bit of education about sugar, and I'll tell you a few little stories. So let's just get underway here. So we're going to discover why sugar is that bad boyfriend you don't need, where it's hiding and lying to you, and how to survive without it. It's not you, it's me. Time to break up and live healthily ever after. And not the end, because it's continuing. So today we're actually going to have a lot of fun, and you are going to be coming away from this webinar empowered to break up with sugar. What you're going to learn today is life-changing. So we're going to learn what sugar actually does to your body, why it's enjoyable to eat sugary foods, some of the surprising places you're going to find sugar, and how you can really live without it. It sounds impossible, I know. What cravings are all about, and how to get rid of those, how sugar is affecting your relationships, Sugar's costing you money and productivity. This is a big one. And how you can feel fabulous after you break up with sugar. It's amazing. So I just want to start today with just quickly setting an intention. My intention is to permanently change your relationship with sugar. So let's get started. So there's me. I'm a wife and mom of 2. And I'm a certified integrative nutrition health coach, like Vanessa said. I've been a wellness advocate for years. I've created the Warrior Lifestyle Signature System to help my clients, and I love everything purple, everything. So my passion, here's my family. This was actually just taken at the end of March. My husband, Michael, my daughter who's 15, and my son who's 12. And since this photo, he's actually now taller than me, and it's less than a month ago. And this is my granny. She's 94. We just celebrated her birthday that day. And part of my beginning of realizing the importance of health was actually the loss of my other grandmother. And it's a really, really hard thing to lose people in your life. But she was 93, and I am looking after myself so that I can enjoy a lot of years with my family. So on to where I was, where I am now. Back in 2006, I'm not even at my heaviest. There's no photos of me at my heaviest. I took all the photos like a lot of people and never jumped in front of the camera because I didn't want anybody to see me. I was embarrassed. I was working in medical clinics, so I was really, self-conscious. I'm trying to hide behind my mini golf. They're my club. I'm trying to hide behind it. I'm obviously not doing a very effective job. I even took out my hair tie for that photo because I felt that if my hair was like everywhere, it wouldn't make my body look so big.
What a transformation, Cherilyn. Holy smokes.
Yes. And there's, hunched over shoulders versus confidence.
Yeah.
Everybody deserves this. Everybody.
Yeah. You're right. It's not just the body, because the body looks great there, but it's the confidence. It's feeling fabulous and toned and fit and strong and all of that, right?
Yes, absolutely. So this is a typical family gathering. This one photo happens to be about 20 years ago at my Baba's house. This is Ukrainian Christmas. And, she's got her homemade donuts. They were the best.
God. Ukrainian donuts. I'm Ukrainian too. Holy
awesome.
Butter and butter and butter, right?
Yes. Yeah. Everything, is just heavy foods. But everything made there, it was made with love. It was made with love. It was served with love. It was eaten with love. And that's why homemade is always better than store-bought. Always. Homemade. So this was a typical gathering for us. So when I was 19, I thought I was really cool. Everybody at 19 rules the world. And my diet consisted of a lot of alcohol. And I ate the Oriental noodles every day for a couple of meals, because I usually ate 2. And my dessert was mini marshmallows every day for like a long period of time. The only other thing missing from my diet at this time from this photo is my Pepsi.
Wow.
Okay, so just gonna share. I was a Pepsi addict, and that's what I had all the time. Now, I'm not just saying drink here, drink there. I had a minimum of 8 cans a day. I started before 7 a.m. I'm not a coffee drinker. I never liked coffee. Pepsi. I would take my can, crack it open in the morning. That was happiness. Pure joy. And I would actually plan my life around when I needed to buy Pepsi. And if I was down to just a little bit in the fridge, I was sweating, shaking, oh my God, and I live in a small town, the store's not open on Sunday. Bless you. That is how I lived. And that was not, looking back, it's like, I don't know, it's just one of those things, where it's your life at the time.
Yeah, and
But
Pepsi's got a ton of sugar in it, right? I think they have
yeah,
like 36 grams per
actually, I'm
one
going to
can.
slide on that. So we'll share that too. But I mean, and then if you look at like Coke, a lot of people get stains out of their toilet by dumping the Coke in and scrubbing. It eats nails. So how good is that for our body, right? And we just do this over and over. We all do. Well, maybe not everybody, but at some point, a lot of people do. So back to my slides. Oops. There we go. Okay, we should be back on the slides here again. Is it a good size still, Vanessa?
Yep, you're good.
Perfect. Wasn't sure if I ruined it there. Here's my mom diet. Also equally embarrassing. What I did for a lot of years, post Pepsi addict, because I didn't break up with Pepsi. It's been about 10 years since I've had any. But then I moved on to like a different addiction. And mine was chocolate covered granola bars with chocolate chips in it. And I ate 2 for breakfast with a glass of milk, 2 for lunch with a glass of milk, and 2 for dinner with a glass of milk. And I would be dishing up the children their vegetables. Here's your peas and carrots. And I'd turn my back and crack open a granola bar and eat. So that's a little bit about me and where I've come from. So I just invite everybody to get out your pen and paper. There's going to be a few things you might want to jot down today, some tips, some hints, tricks, and don't write it down. You are not going to remember. I guarantee that. So first off, I just want to offer everybody access to my free ebook, 10 Ways to Live a Dynamic Life, How to Feel Energized, Vibrant, and on top of your game every day. Every day, not just once in a while. We want this all the time. We want this to be our life. We need this to be able to show up every day in our personal life, and we need it to be able to show up every day in our business lives. So if you want to jot that down, it's bit.ly/live a dynamic life. And Vanessa, when you get a chance, I'm sure you can pop that into the chat box for everybody. We can also do it later on as well.
I'll do that right now.
I want to make sure everybody grabs that because it's really cool. Okay, I want to start with this one first. This is a really big one, and especially when we're talking with anybody who's involved with business or even at your regular job and also even just at home in your everyday life. Life is busy, and we want to be efficient in many areas to truly be able to enjoy our lives. And in being efficient, we're able to create time for things we love to do. So here is where sugar is affecting your financial areas as well as your productivity. We're often spending more money on our grocery bill for soda, chocolate candy, and those things don't fill you. They won't fill you. You have a bit, you need more. You have a bit, you need more. When you're eating healthily, you are satisfied. You also may suffer from daytime fatigue and fogginess, and you know that when you're tired or you can't think straight, you're not as productive. Again, both in business and personal life. And sugar also contributes to moodiness and cravings, and I mean that jeopardizes your client relationships. If you're in a pissy mood, they don't want to deal with you, and you probably don't even want to deal with yourself. It also compromises your immune system, and we all know that you can't function at the level you want to when you're sick. You can show up, but just because you're there doesn't mean you can do what you need to be doing.
Yep. Anybody here suffer from that? I just want to get a quick check. If you're watching the webinar, do you suffer from low energy? Do you feel bad about your body weight? Do you have issues about your image? Do you or your self-image? Do you have negative self-talk around what your body looks like? Do you have a hard time with sugar? Do you have a hard time with cravings? Do you wish you could look, be that perfect little size 6 and Do you have trouble going to the gym? Like, what do you struggle with the most when it comes to this entire topic of health, fitness, energy, sugar? Just pop it in here and let me know, so that, if you have any questions, or I just want to get a kind of a general idea, so that way Cherilyn can, kind of create the webinar to help you guys most, which you want to focus on.
That's a perfect question, Vanessa. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, increased dental costs when you've got cavities, all those things. And it does affect your ability to learn. Sugar contributes to mild memory loss. And when you start hearing brain decay, slowing down brain function, kind of makes you reconsider how important eating those gummy bears were, having that last Coke that you had. We want to be vital. We want to be present and alive. And just one other personal story with the groceries. I know that when I used to shop for my groceries, all I bought was junk. The entire cart was chips, cookies, pop, and it was literally all junk. But I was kind of embarrassed to be judged by the cashier. So I throw in a couple of vegetable items because, I was a mom, worked at a medical clinic. I didn't want people knowing that I ate crap. So I would throw in some healthy food. And basically that stuff, I bought it came home, it would spoil in the fridge, and I would throw it out. So my grocery bill, adding on vegetables that we didn't even eat, increased it greatly. All right, so what does sugar even do to your body? Well, here's a lot of those risks that we're taking by having too much sugar and very regularly. We all know about the obesity, diabetes, heart disease, the high blood pressure. It does actually wreak some havoc with cancers. It can give you some insomnia. Even dizziness is something that a lot of people suffer from that would be really nice not to. It contributes to fatty liver. Okay, and fatty liver can happen to people who are slim and trim, but because their body isn't metabolizing things the way it should, they get fatty liver, which can cause insulin resistance, which then contributes to metabolic syndrome. It is really like a vicious circle. It's very concerning.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of people here that are tuning in, and things like they want to lose weight. So, having an ideal weight, suffering from brain fog, absent-mindedness, sugar and gluten cravings. I love sugar and it loves me. People that are healing from leaky gut, addiction to sugar, love sweets, love cakes and baked goods. Oh my gosh, part of my family, the Ukrainians and the Hungarians.
We're all drooling right now with it, yes. But I know, I completely can relate with all of this because I've lived it too. And you get busy and stress happens, life happens. And especially women, we tend to put ourselves last. That's just kind of the way, we feel that things need to be, which is, it's time for us to take our power back, right, Vanessa?
Yep. And I'm so happy that you're talking about this because, people might be thinking, well, what does sugar have to do with my business? Well, let me tell you, I'm just gonna share this quick story because I'm so happy that we're you're here on the webinar talking with this. A few years ago when I lived in Hawaii, I had a sinus infection over Christmas, over another one over the New Year holiday. I was out. I was praying to God. I was like, I couldn't see it in my eyeballs. I stayed in bed for days. I got whacked with one sinus infection, whack after the next one. And I went to see the acupuncturist. I said, something's not right here. This is crazy. I'm taking all my vitamins and I got this healthy lifestyle, but I had candida in my gut. So candida is like this little not a virus. It's like a little, I don't know. It's a little nasty little thing that, lives in your gut, and it lives off the sugar. So I was on a no sugar, no bread, no white rice, no nothing but meat and vegetable diet for 3 months, and no wine, no white, and no refined, nothing. Taking these candida killers, and it was like a major wake-up call. and I made a complete 180 shift, you know, in my health. And that's really when my image really started to change. My body, I got in the best shape of my life. I made a decision, that's what I was going to do. But it came through a major wake-up call, and I was flat on my ass, like I was dying. I didn't have a choice. And it was highly related to sugar. I didn't know that white flour, white toast, white, you know, potatoes, white bread, all of that, it was sugar, you know, alcohol, a lot of sugar, like you showed in the slides. No wine. Jerry's like, oh my God, exactly, right? No wine, no nothing. It wasn't a yeast infection. It was the candida was snatched onto my intestine, where that's really the health of your body, right? It's in your guts.
Yes,
and so it was
your gut is like a brain.
My immune system, yeah. So it was really, I couldn't even eat fruit. Christina's asking, could not eat fruit. Imagine living in Hawaii. You have like mangoes and papayas in your backyard, nothing but meat and vegetables for 3 months. It was really awful. But then I cleared my system of candida and got my health back on track. So I just wanted to share that it is a really big part of your business, because, you know, the health, your energy that you bring to the table, if you're even able to run your business, you know what I mean? Your health is number one. So really happy, Cherilyn, that you're bringing this over to us here today.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge for sure. And we all need to feel our best all the time. We deserve to feel our best all the time, actually. It's not even that we need to, we deserve it. So our actions do affect all those things. And we're the ones that put some of those foods in our mouths, right? So we really need to stop and take control of the situation. One of my clients, I recently ran a 10-day sugar smackdown, and it was just a group of ladies where we really worked hard on avoiding sugar for 10 days, a mini detox of sorts. And yeah, she was just flabbergasted, I guess, at, you know, how she was able to get through this. And it was the support that was helping her, and the group setting was really part of her success. And she really appreciated working with me in this setting, so that she was finally able to make some better choices and see, you know, some of this information I'm sharing with you today was part of that group that we had. And in learning, we know sugar is bad, we're told sugar is bad, and then we eat it. So it's just really making it a priority and a focus for us. So
Awesome.
yeah, and she was, you know, and just like anybody else, it's not, we've got jobs, we've got children, we've got spouses, we've got maybe aging parents, we've got friends, you know, we want to have it all. And in order to show up and really be present in everything, we need to start looking after ourselves. So eating sugar or having sugar is actually an addiction. People think of addiction as, you know, somebody who's an alcoholic, somebody who needs their cigarettes, somebody who goes out gambling, or even perhaps shopping. And a lot of these things, you know, they numb the pain, they give instant gratification. And we really, as much as we're always trying to live in the now, we need to create balance between living in the now and what our long-term consequences are by our choices. So sugars, when we eat them, our brain releases dopamine, and it says, whoa, body, look, you're happy now. And of course, we all want to feel happy. We've got a million things to do. We're running a million different directions. We want happiness, and humans want, again, instant gratification. We want happy now. What's going to make me happy right now? Oh, more sugar. So even though later we will possibly regret those decisions, in that moment, we want happiness and we want it now.
Yeah. I like that on your last slide about the sugar smackdown.
Yeah.
Smackdown, no sugar.
A lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And you know, that particular client, there was a couple of days where I think she struggled, and she didn't want to tell me she was struggling. And I'm like, whoop, haven't heard from her. So I sent her a message, and I was like, what's up, girl? Like, you know, we all have these struggles. And sometimes, you know, you just need that extra support. And it was a good thing. Okay, so sugar, where is it? It's actually quite surprising where you will find it. best way to find it is read your labels. And I mean, quite honestly, for me, for years, to me, ketchup was like just tomatoes. I had no, whatever. But yeah, of course it has sugar in it. Bread, you think flour, you don't see sugar. So here's just a quick little list for you guys, just to see where it can be hiding. In spices, let me just say that it's mostly in the blends.
In the what?
In the blends of spices. So not just in cinnamon, but when you buy a bunch of, you buy a container and it's like Greek, they'll include a few things, but there could be sugar. Could be.
We had somebody talking about that here. In a lot of the spicy foods, there's a lot of sugar. Ketchup, too. I think it's in ketchup, but it's full of sugar.
Yeah. And even, again, the pasta sauce and your juices. Oh my gosh. We think when our children are little, it's like, here's a glass of apple juice. Here's some apple juice.
We have 3 stepkids here. I got 3 stepkids here at the house, and they are addicted to sugar. I mean, they're like apple juice, same thing. And even when you go to these health food stores and you go to take one of these little green drinks, a free green, whatever smoothie drink, it's in the health food store, it's in a Whole Foods, you think it's so good, you're looking at 30 grams of sugar. 10 grams of sugar is too much sugar.
Yep. And I see a typo here. I've got peanut butter, but underneath that is not protein butter. It's actually supposed to be protein bars. And that was one thing when I started, deciding I was going to be healthier. I'm like, oh, whoa, look at me. I'm not, having my chocolate covered granola bars. I'm having a protein bar. I'm having another protein bar. And one day it was like, holy crap, 300 calories, like a ridiculous amount of sugar. And you're not getting the results you want because ideally we just like make our own foods. You know what's in it. You start with your vegetables. You have control when you're making it yourself, but you buy something packaged and you don't know. So basically it's reading your labels, but what do you look for? Oh my gosh, because most companies don't just say, hey, watch for sugar, we put sugar in here. High fructose corn syrup is probably one of the predominant ones you're going to find, and manufacturers started using it several years back because it was cheap, so they could charge less money for their products, and it's bad.
Yeah, stay away from high fructose corn syrup. It's in all the fake stuff.
It is.
Questions here. Jerry's asking about agave. Doctor suggests, what are your thoughts about agave? I've got my own, but what do you think about agave?
Well, my thoughts initially, I was like, woohoo, agave, and I bought some, and I did more research, and I hadn't opened that bottle, and I took it back. I personally lean more towards honey, or even maple syrup, if with more natural. A lot of people like their agave. And certainly I'm not in any position to tell anybody not to have it. But I know I did take mine back after I had done more research on it, because I just thought, wow, if I have an option, I'll choose the honey then.
What are your thoughts? I got my own question. I use stevia. I use a chocolate flavored stevia.
Yeah, your best choice.
Even instead of honey. And honey is good for you, but I like to drink my coffee. I like a coffee every morning. It's bad. I have like cream in my coffee. It's so good. It's so bad. It's so good. It's like, okay, I let myself have this one thing, right?
Yep.
I just fancy pants coffee machine. Sounds like it's got its own little, anyways, it looks like a rocket ship. But I love the coffee, so I put stevia. It's chocolate flavored stevia in there, and that's what I use to sweeten things with.
Yeah, well, stevia, definitely your best choice that way for sure. I agree there. We actually use it. We still like to go with our old school recipes of, say, our chocolate chip cookies. And in our house, my daughter's celiac. She's allergic to milk and soy and eggs.
Wow.
And peanuts. And we take the recipes that I grew up eating and we modify them to be healthier. So, instead of sugar, we can even substitute applesauce. Like, you can take traditional recipes and they're a little different, yes, but you can make them work. And when you're not eating sugar all the time, your taste buds kind of change and you're like, wow, that orange was sweet.
And don't you have a lot more energy because you're not riding that sugar high, right? You're actually receiving nutrients. Your body is well hydrated. It's not like zung out and spun out on caffeine or the sugar.
Exactly. And another thing about, well, I just want to make sure I share this with you, and I'm going to do it now. I intended to do it later, but I may forget. But a lot of food companies actually hire scientists to make sure their food is addictive. So there's a lot of testing that goes into it, and they actually monitor people when they eat certain foods and their reactions, so that they're ensuring that everybody who's eating it is like getting really happy, and then they know they've made a good product because you are going to keep buying it because you are hooked. And it's, our food industry has a long way to go. So let's get into how much sugar is in some of the foods. Just a few samples here for you guys. So there you've got your Coke, Pepsi, Mountain Dew, 13 teaspoons in one can. So if you can imagine even just taking a glass of water, throwing 13 teaspoons in it, squeezing a little lemon and drinking it. Disgusting. And the USDA says that we should all be consuming less than 10 teaspoons of added sugar per day. The American
How much? 8 to 9 teaspoons is a guideline. So imagine in just one can, you've blown yourself right out. Yeah, if you just cut out, your health goals will become so much easier to achieve if you just cut out the sugar. It really is. That's really the biggest, I think, the biggest bang you can make for your health is cutting that out.
And it's hard. I mean, I did that myself. I suffered greatly when I cut out my Pepsi. In the first week that I didn't have any, I lost 10 pounds.
Wow.
Which I then gained. Yeah, it was 10 pounds. It was awesome. But then I gained it back when I started eating the chocolate-covered granola bars.
Well, so don't trade one for the other. You got to cut it out. So what do you suggest to people? Do you have any tips that can help people, make kind of healthy changes and avoid the sugar and avoid the Pepsi and avoid the granola bars and all those other things?
Yeah, well, I've got a few tips actually coming up here. I'll just scoot through. But definitely one great drink that you can have is taking your water and infusing it with fruit. Throw some fruit in, a mason jar with some water, leave it in the fridge for a couple of hours. That cool, fruity, it's awesome. You will really appreciate it. Okay, so here's some cereals. Special K is something that I know I decided that I was going to eat when I wanted to get healthy. So per 100 grams, it only has 3 teaspoons of sugar. But because it was so bland for me, by the time I threw 3 more tablespoons of brown sugar on it, I'm sure I was not doing myself any justice whatsoever. But again, these foods, Lucky Charms, Fruit Loops, marketed to our children all the time. This is a whole other webinar that could go on about, the effect of all this on children. It's really,
my gosh. Yeah. It's crazy. You give kids freaking little sweets and gummy bears and they bounce off the freaking walls. My aunt has this whole theory about red gummy bears. Like, don't feed my kid red gummy bears, she'll lose her mind, and it was true. We would feed her. We'd pump my cousin Melissa with like red candies and she'd lose her mind. She'd go crazy. She'd like hysterically laugh and then roll around and have a fit and a tantrum and cry. It was like, this is like back when I was a kid. So like I'm 37 now. So delete like, I don't know, half my lifetime, more than that, when I was at the cottage 12 years old, and my cousin was, 2 or 3 or 5, and we were pumping it with all kinds of candies. They'd go nuts.
Yeah. So, I mean, and as far as sugar, there's sugar in our fruit. The recommendations aren't including the natural occurring sugars. I mean, we do have to be careful that we don't overload on our fruit. We want vegetables is going to be the biggest part of your everyday diet, but we need fruit too, and it's enjoyable, and that provides us a sweet treat. So in the sugar recommendation of less than 10 teaspoons, if you follow that one, it doesn't include what's in naturally occurring in fruit.
Fruits. That's good to know. I've
So
got a question about caffeine. What's your take on caffeine? Someone asks, okay, so stevia or no calorie sugar, is it okay in coffee? And can you drink coffee a couple times a day? How does that affect your weight loss?
you know, personally, I don't drink coffee. I don't get it. Like I drank my Pepsi. I got that. But I never drank the coffee. Coffee is something that can interfere with your sleep, even if you have your last cup at 11 o'clock in the morning. Depending on the person, everybody is very unique. It's definitely a whole bio-individuality thing. So some people can't have coffee after 10 o'clock in the morning. They may not sleep at night, and they'll say, well, I didn't have any coffee in the evening. And so the coffee can cause issues with our sleep. What then happens, though, is because lack of sleep makes us not function properly, we then make poor choices with our foods. Because you don't give a crap. You're like, oh my God, I'm just tired. Find me something. Oh, great. There's some Kit Kats. Like, sweet, score. And you just kind of get on with your day from there. And that's, but coffee makes a lot of people happy too. And
Jerry's like, oh my God, I love my coffee. I'm like, me too. I love my coffee. But you know what? I think the switch that I made was to put stevia in it, to not have the sugar in the coffee, and
you know what? We need that balance, right? And sometimes we need to feel bad. We need to be badass. And, in having that, like, whoa, look at me, I'm still having my coffee. If that's your vice, that's not the worst one you could be having at all.
Everything in moderation, I think, is okay.
Yeah, definitely. It's moderation.
Except, crack, cocaine, heroin, cocaine. That's like, there's no limitation. There's no little bits of that. I'm saying everything in moderation is okay. Minus, there's some things that are just never fit into that.
Yeah, for sure. So this was just another client of mine that I wanted to share with you. She was in my Warrior Lifestyle Signature Program. And we did a lot of self-care with her, worked on her relationships, and her exercise. I mean, who has 2 to 3 hours a day to work out? And then you're stressed because, oh my God, I have to fit in 2 to 3 hours. Well, the best time is 9 o'clock at night after the kids go to bed, but then it's midnight and I have to shower and, oh my gosh, the laundry's not put away. And suddenly you got to get up in the morning, and it's a hard pace to keep. Initially, for the first bit, you can run on less sleep. But after a while, you don't have those coping skills. So she just felt that she needed to do everything and be everything to everybody. And I said, you're enough. We're all enough. So definitely, we need to really kind of take a step back sometimes, and we're not superheroes. We're real people. So how to survive without sugar? So clean your pantry out first thing. Get rid of it.
Yeah, get rid of it out of the house. You don't see
baby steps too. Some people, it is tough to quit cold turkey, which is what I had done with the Pepsi. I probably wouldn't have suffered as much withdrawal if I had kind of cut back. I mean, I went from 8 or 10 cans a day to 0. So I was kind of a biatch for many days. I didn't feel like myself, and I didn't feel like anybody should walk in my presence or be anywhere near me. And it wasn't much fun. But yeah, be patient with yourself, because you're going to have good days and bad days, and have a game plan. Don't just go into it blind. Plan for some exercise, plan your food in advance so that you're not coming home at the end of a busy day. You've worked, you've ran the kids to baseball, you had to stop and get some groceries, and then you get in the house and my gosh, you have to wash the vegetables.
Yeah, I agree with this. One of the things that I started doing on Sundays is preparing food. So like I'll buy a whole bunch of chicken breasts and barbecue them and throw them into a container in the fridge. And then when it's time for me to make my salads, I've got the salads pre-washed, it's ready. And I can just pour some salad dressing, heat up some chicken, boom, have a healthy lunch. And I'm not, and yes, we've got kids in the house, but this is just so that I can keep the energy high while I'm working on my business and being effective during the day. I really, I saw it posted in, I don't know, Pinterest somewhere, have 10 ways to prepare your food in advance. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so smart. I'm going to do that. And it's made a really big difference. So I love that you have that tip in here.
Yeah, and I personally really bucked that idea because I wanted to eat by my craving. And I thought, how do you prepare on Sunday for Thursday? Because by Thursday, maybe I want pasta. And yet here I've prepared chicken breasts. Like, that does not work for me.
Right. People are asking, rice and pasta, this is considered sugar. This is sugar. Rice and pasta is sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you can look at, eating brown rice instead of white rice. Have whole grain. It's better. It's still wheat, but it's better than just.
That's right. I mean, if you have to avoid wheat completely, like my daughter has, she will have the rice pasta. She'll have, there's quinoa pasta as well. So there's options out there, and you don't have to do this all tomorrow. You can take steps, and every time you grocery shop, just replace something you normally bought with something that's a better choice, and ease yourself into it, ease your family into it. I decided that the beef we were buying all the time, the ground beef, was always very fatty. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to start buying ground chicken. And so then I made a dish with ground chicken, and nobody would eat it because it was the wrong color. It's a very, it's lighter, it's not as dark. And so everybody's like, oh, this is just gross. So plan B, 90% beef, 10% chicken. Next time, 80% beef, 20% chicken. And over time, I transitioned with more and more chicken. After a while, they didn't even notice. We just kept on. They had ground beef one day, and they're like, wow, this stuff isn't so good. So yeah, there you go. But that worked for us, and it may work for others as well. And
I think you're right. Especially transitioning kids over from one thing, one habit. Kids, they're running on habits, right? Eating is a very deeply ingrained, habitual, ritualized experience, and making a change. I know with the three kids that we have here, coming from a life where they eat whatever the heck they want at their mom's house, they come here and. We want you to eat healthy food. We want you to be, we want you to be healthy. We want you to be happy. We want you to be successful little people, right?
Well, and we want them to behave. Behavior is very much linked to diet for children and adults.
Kids come over here and have breakdowns, and they would go nuts. They'd have these meltdowns, and it was them coming off of the sugar high. We realized, right?
Yeah. And again, it affects them mentally as it does us. So, but. What can you do then when you have this craving? Oh my gosh, I'm having a craving. I'm going to die.
Yeah.
You're not. Try some water. Sometimes we're confusing. Our body is like dehydrated, and we're like, wow, something's wrong here. I need food. Make sure you're getting enough protein. That's something that fills you, so you're not going to be, as hungry all the time. But head out for a walk. Call a friend. A lot of people find meditation to be helpful. And journaling is actually a great way to get down your thoughts. What are you feeling? How bad is your craving? What just happened before you had the craving? If you notice that every time a certain person speaks to you on the phone and it upsets you and you have to get off and you can't wait to find, a chocolate bar, and oh my gosh, I have no chocolate bar, but look, we've got chocolate chips for baking, those will do. And you need to really sort out where this is coming from to be able to be effective in, dealing with it. Because if you don't know where it's coming from, you can be like, I'm not eating sugar for 3 weeks. And you will at some point if you don't address the source.
Yeah, it's a good tip. Find out what your triggers are, what makes you go and want to reach for the sugar.
Yeah. And I mean, we're having the craving again because every time you have sugar, you want more. It's the whole happiness thing. And we will have withdrawal depending on how much sugar we've been having. I just had a client the other day said, I've gone without sugar for 2 days, and on day 2 now I have a headache. And that often is like that trigger for us going, oh my God, I can't survive without it because this headache sucks. And you go back into the sugar, and that is not the way to do it. You need to kind of, you need to put on your big girl panties and push right through, because these things are going to happen. And you can expect it. And again, a lot of water helps alleviate this. And
it is kind of like that bad boyfriend, right? You can't just have him a little bit in your life. You got to cut him out, kick him to the curb. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, you're like, this is not going to be this long-term thing I thought it was. It was a fling. It was enjoyable. I had a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
So that is the way it works. Another client of mine, she had gone through the Warrior program with me, and she needed a lot of work on just her relationship with herself. And, you know, we need the self-confidence, and it starts with you. If you're not having a good relationship with yourself, how do you have good relationships with others? And what do you really want? We need to go like deep, get down and dirty with this, because this is going to be key to setting up your success and happiness in your life and in your business.
I agree. You got to have a good relationship. You got to have a self-love. You got to love yourself enough to help yourself to stick to, you know, the goals. You've got to have the right mindset foundation, whether it's for your health or for your life, for your finances, your business, your family, your self-care. Self-care comes first. Absolutely.
Definitely. And you know, it's when you go on the airplane, put on your own oxygen mask first. You may have seen on Pinterest or even Facebook, you know, the little picture of the coffee cup saying you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't pour from an empty vessel. If you've got nothing to give, it's hard to give. And it actually negatively affects you repeatedly. It causes a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. And, you know, that's just something that can be avoided. And a lot of that starts with working on yourself and how you're treating your body. So your relationships are affected by sugar. So the Snickers commercial, you know, Marsha, you're not yourself when you're hungry, because we aren't. We tend to be moody. Who wants to be around somebody who is all happy one second and the next minute they're complaining, they're negative? It's not fun. So, and sugar can actually really wreak havoc. It does wreak havoc with hormones, and it affects your PMS. So ladies,
somebody was asking if does sugar enhance infertility? Does it affect infertility?
Yes, it does, definitely. A lot of women with diets that aren't quite where they should be could have PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. And yeah, that affects fertility. A lot of women can also end up with things like facial hair, buffalo hump on the back. Like, it's not.
Ew! Get rid of it. So the day I freaking have
gummy bear and end up with a nice
hump, I'm gonna cut everything out. My God, get rid of it. Gross.
Yeah. So you don't just eat a gummy bear and end up with a nice mustache. I mean, it doesn't work that way. But because sugar affects your hormones is affecting things like your hair growth. Yeah, you don't want that. And actually, I mean, I work with ladies, but men, when men get that big belly, they're, you know, their hormones have been affected, and that's often a lot of sugar. And when men get that way, they actually end up with more estrogen than they're supposed to have, which is not a good thing for a man. I mean, your manlyhood, like, men are like, look at me, I am a man, I am the head of the household. You know, when they're like Uberman, they don't want to be feminine, I don't think. So anyway, but yeah, it's really wreaks havoc on your hormones. And of course, even aging, I mean, it affects our skin. And the whole stress level thing that goes with, you know, when we end up increasing our weight, that ages us as well. And none of us, I mean, you know, we can age with grace and dignity, absolutely. And when we get wrinkles will come. But who wants to be wrinkly at 30? you know, nobody's putting up their hand, I'm sure.
Yep, there are ways to get around the sugar,
Yeah.
and I think it does wreak a lot of havoc. It even creates, I think, acid in the body,
Mhm.
acidity, which leads to arthritis and all kinds of
Oh,
so
yeah.
many studies.
And sugar increases your inflammation, so your arthritis, your rheumatoid arthritis, like all those things, and they're not pleasant to have. When we grow old, we want our brains to work and we want our bodies to work. So we have to look after them now. You can start when you're 60 or 70 and still lead a healthier life. But ideally, when you know this stuff, you need to implement it now at 20 and 30 and 40.
Yep.
As
And
much as
usually what happens, unfortunately, is that people wait for a big wake-up call. That's really just the truth. That's what happened to me. I didn't really take it seriously until I, really had that big wake-up call, and I was sick, for an entire season. All Christmas holiday, all of New Year's holiday, I was down, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make sure this never happens again.
Yep, and it's kind of unfortunate. Again, working in a medical clinic for over 17 years, I would see all these people coming in sick, and so much is self-induced. And it was really sad because there was many people who would wait to have a heart attack before they would decide to eat better. And some people don't recover, and then you see the spouse or the children all upset, and it's not worth any of that. I mean, it really is time for everybody to take responsibility for their own actions.
Yep.
And I mean, and when you can get rid of that sugar, and you can, and some people, it might take them a week. Some people could do it tomorrow. Other people, it might take them 3, 4, 5 months.
Yeah.
And it's just constant steps towards better choices every single day. That's it. But you'll have more energy. You'll have more clarity. You'll be able to think better. You'll just have balance in your life because you're not always worried about that sugar and where am I going to get it from. And you're empowered and confident. When you make the decision and work on yourself, it feels amazing. Just like when you're done like a really kick-ass workout, somebody pushes you harder through your workout, you're like, whoa, I didn't think I could do it, but man, I killed that. And
it creates endorphins, and those are the real feelings that you're after, not the fake induced sugar ones, but the real endorphins that you can create just alone with your body.
Yeah, working out or even just relationships with other people, that makes us happy too. And we tend to be, I mean, look back at the 60s, everybody had their dinner together. There was on Sunday was nothing but time for friends and family gatherings and church and all that. Now we're like, there's a tournament here, we're running here, we've got a whatever work commitment this place, and we're just constantly running. And as much as we're trying to give to others, it's kind of, we're really just laser focused on what's immediately in front of us, and we're not really paying attention to our bodies at all. So, which is unfortunate. But here we go. How about 5 surefire tips to cut sugar out of your life? Okay, so these you can start today. And these are fairly simple. Don't buy it. If it's not in your house, you can't eat it. Read your labels when you shop so that you had some tips there on what to look for in your labels. Ideally, even the more we move away from packaged foods, you don't even have to worry so much about reading the labels because you're creating things yourself. Start a journal or food diary so that you're keeping track again of these cravings and how you're feeling, what happened just before that, so that you can really look back and understand yourself and what your body is telling you. Because when your body's giving you cravings, your body's giving you a message. The cravings are not your enemy. What is the issue is what is causing that craving, right? So what's missing in your life that you feel the need to replace with sugar, bread, sweets, whatever? Are you not in a happy relationship with your spouse? Did you have some issues when you were growing up? Again, like, I showed the my family gatherings. You would go to any, you go to a Baba's house and they're like, oh, we'll just get you a little something. And you say, well, no, I just ate. Oh, but no, I need to feed you. That's how they want to show their love. And which is fine. But when they put out enough food in front of you and expect you to eat that in the next half an hour, and it's enough food for a family of 20 for a week, you have a bit of an issue. So really just pay attention, because sometimes when you're eating, it has to do with the good feelings of spending time with somebody before. So when my Baba created food, we just love being with her. The food was there. We can still be with her without the food. So,
Yep.
And sleep. Oh my gosh, sleep. This is a whole other webinar in itself, is sleep. But not just being in your bed, getting quality sleep. That is really important. So to stay asleep for a long enough period of time where your body can do all the nighttime magic that it does, and you wake up rested and ready for the day, and even before your alarm clock. But I regularly get 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep every night, and I make sure I do. And I feel physically ill if I'm getting to bed too late. I'm just like, I'm done. I'm out of here. And I'm like, I'm no longer a mom. I'm done spousing. I'm done parenting. I'm out of here. And I have to. And it's made a little difference to me. So. And just some of my clients have had some nice things to say about working with me, which is, it's humbling, because this is my passion, and I just really, truly want to help people feel good and be productive and enjoy their life, because I didn't enjoy mine for a lot of years. I was just, oh crap, got to wake up in the morning, got to make lunches, laundry, whatever the kids had, and every single day it was over and over, and you just you ran on autopilot and didn't notice a lot of things that were going on in your life, and certainly you didn't notice your body. So this is what I want everybody to just, starting now, take those 5 tips, pay attention to yourself, and it's time to change. And now you've been armed with tools and information, so let's move on and take that next step. All right, so Vanessa, you did ask, if I could offer your webinar supporters a little something. And so what I decided is that, summer's coming and I'm getting very busy, but I've opened up 5 spaces in my calendar just to offer some 30-minute breakthrough sessions. These are free sessions, and really, honestly, this is probably going to be the best 30 minutes that you've spent on yourself all year, possibly even all decade. If you're struggling, you probably knew what to do before this, and you're going to be getting ready. The shorts are coming out, the bikini's coming out. If you were able to do this based on the knowledge that you already had, you would have done it already, right? I mean, I know I had all the knowledge. I was in a medical clinic. I was surrounded by doctors and nurses all day. I knew better. I was missing the support. And
I agree. I think that if you want to make a shortcut and you want to save time and save money and get the results faster, the best way to do that is to work with a mentor. The best way to do that is to work with somebody who's already been there before. So what I'm understanding is that you're offering 5 free kind of health breakthrough sessions to people here on this webinar, which is so generous of your time. Thank you. Thank you. And the website is
make a difference.
bit.ly complimentary session. I'm going to put that here in the chat as well.
Yeah, awesome. bit.ly/complimentary session. And, I've been doing it for years. I've helped a lot of people get results. So I know I can help you. I think, we should talk, because honestly, in 30 minutes, you can get more tips and more steps that you can actually implement, because you can Google search anything. There is a plethora of info out there. But I know I got really confused, because there was this and there was that, and oh my gosh, all these things, and which one do I do? And you know, again, should I have stevia? Should I have honey? Should I have maple syrup? Should I have agave? And it's very bio-individual, and it takes some time to work through. So my program really just takes that to that personal and individualized level and guides you through that. And it's not what you can do with books and video. You know, get some action steps and figure out where you are struggling. You know, we all have our struggles, but
Yeah.
where is it coming from? What is holding you back?
Yeah, I'm a big believer, you know, I'm a big believer in having people that have, you know, gone the distance and done what you want to do to help you shortcut your success, your learning curve. I'm a big believer in coaches and, you know, I mean, I have a fitness coach, I have an accountant, I have a bookkeeper, I have all these experts that work with me and work, you know, on my team and are experts in what they do and can help me. So I'm a big believer in getting people's help and mentors and coaches, especially to help you, you know, through the humps and the hard places that you can't do by yourself. Otherwise, you would have already done it. So that's really, yeah, Cherilyn, that's really super generous. Again, I'm going to put that here. I have put it here in the chat. If you want to go ahead and schedule a 30-minute, you know, health breakthrough with Cherilyn. The website again is bit.ly/complimentary session, and she's going to give away 5 of those. So highly recommend you take her up on that. And Cherilyn, thank you so much for being here on the 10K in 30 Day Live weekly webinar. There's just been a ton of engagement here. People have been chatting with me. You guys haven't really heard me. I mean, I'm just kind of answering questions, and so that's been really awesome. Where can people find you? Of course, we put the link in there as well, bit.ly/ Live a Dynamic Life to pick up your free book. Are you on Facebook? Where else can people come and find you?
If you want to find me on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Cherilyn T Fitness.
Cool.
And awesome. My website is mywarriorlife.com. You can reach me through there as well. Maybe a little easier to remember, easier to spell than trying to figure out Cherilyn. But yeah, definitely reach out. You know, it's okay to ask for help. That's something that it's a big hurdle for us. And it's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. So just remember that in any areas of your life. If you need help, just ask.
Awesome. Awesome sauce. Thank you so much for your wisdom and for your time. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Come back again next week for another 10K in 30 Day Live weekly webinar series with me and cool guests. And you never know, we always have a great conversation. Get your questions answered and really take your life and your business to the next level. I love you guys. Thank you again, Cherilyn. Thank you, everyone. Big hugs, and we'll see you again next time. Bye.